Well, hello there, Guardians. Oh, we have some juicy, moist details from Bungie. This week's weekly update gives us a final release, or I guess it's an estimated, it's still subject to change, release date for the hard raid CROTA'S in. So that's pretty exciting. So before we get into all the details, I want to let you know in this video we'll be covering that. I'm going to be breaking down the guns that are going to be dropping in this, because if you do not know, they held back the primaries specifically for this. So we have an auto rifle, pulse rifle, scout rifle, and hand cannon coming, not to mention the Necro Chasm on top of that. So those things are going to be discussed, as well as some tips that I can give you guys and predictions that I'm going to think help you guys throughout this process. So let's just jump straight in there right now. What we do know is that it's going to be released on Wednesday, January 21st at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern. Now that's unique because that's kind of like middle of the day instead of late at night during a reset. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's better for the public anyways, except for the kids in school. That kind of sucks. But I'm going to be participating in World's first opportunity too, alongside the other streamers, so definitely look out for me there. And they even mentioned, and this is quoting them, we might even send the world first finisher some swag from the Bungie store. And just not to get your hopes up, I mean, but they did give honorable mentions to the top 10 that completed CROTA raid, so there's a good chance that runner-ups get some cool prizes too. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that stuff. Now, what they have done is they've teased different things in the past, you know, kind of given subtle hints in this, and I'm going to give you guys some tips before we get into the weapons that are going to be dropping, the details on those, towards what I would recommend you guys to do while preparing for this. First things first, you need to be 32 going into here. We do not have any strategies yet. People do not have any patterns going with. We don't know what to expect. So honestly, you're going to need to bring your A game. Bring your Jowler Horns and Hunger CROTA'S. You're going to need to make sure you bring all of your good sniper rifles. If you have the Black Hammer, go for it. A really nice Aphrodite Spear is going to be great as well. Lord knows what's going to come from this. All we do know is CROTA'S raid should be significantly harder, exponentially harder than Atheon ever was. Atheon kind of had its crutch moments. You had the ability to, you know, regenerate your super through the time and everything like that. So you had some advantages. Not to mention you have a big disadvantage with the fact that you can't regenerate health in this. So I would recommend you guys to bring along one of those weapons that does that for you. And I would say something like the Regime, which you can regenerate health by, you know, picking off a couple thralls. Or I think the Red Death has a similar perk. So while you're waiting on the next wave or for the Sword Bearer to come out, it'd be a great idea to alternate between those and use that as a strategy while fighting him, because the Chalice may not always be available for you guys. So definitely take the opportunity to stock up on heavy ammo synths from Zer if he has them this week, and make sure you're ready for this event, because it should be significantly harder than Atheon ever was, in my honest opinion. So be prepared for this, and it's really going to be worth it. We have a new ship, a new shader called the Glowhoo. The new ship's pretty badass, to be honest, and of course, last but not least, we want to talk about the 5 new weapons coming from this portion right here, and they are some pretty hefty ones. I'm going to break them down right now, starting with the new auto rifle, the Abyss Defiant. And booyah, the big daddy right here. It resembles kind of a solar damage version of the Shiro's Regime in a few ways. You can see it's solar damage. It has hip fire in that first tier area, and even focus fire, which is what the Shiro's does when you aim down sight. It actually slower rate of fire, but higher damage. It also has a couple other nice advantages to it. It's got perfect balance in that middle tier area, which is going to be great for the low recoil. But it also has Lishbane, which is projectiles have a chance to disorient Hive Wizards, which is great because it is a solar damage, so it drops their shields. This thing is going to be an incredible thing, and a lot of people are going to be thirsty over this weapon. Moving on over to the next one right now, guys. We are going to be taking a look at the Fang of Yr'Yut. So this beauty is probably the one that I want most. As you can see, it's got a couple unique things. It's got spray and play available, which increases the reload speed by 50% if the mag is empty, but it also has target mark, which says the enemies hit by this weapon are briefly highlighted. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but it's probably for like the moments inside of fighting the thralls in that first portion of the raid. It's also got high caliber rounds, which is going to make it great for flinching in PvP. It also has perfect balance for the recoil in Field Scout, amping up the magazine from 15, probably closer to 23 or 27 or something like that. And last but not least, Third Eye is going to be good too, because it stays up with the radar during that period. So this thing is going to be a pretty solid PvP and PvE one, seeing as how it's an arc damage. So I'm really looking forward to this thing in the future. Now this one's a little lacking in my opinion. It's called the Oversoul Edict, and it is the pulse rifle. It is arc damage. It can be fired in full auto, which is pretty cool. It's got snapshot, which means you can aim down sight extremely fast, I believe 30% faster. Field Scout and fitted stock. Field Scout would be a pretty decent one too. And it's got Dark Breaker. Projectiles will over-penetrate through Hive Knight walls of darkness. Now that will be valuable for PvE. This one looks like it's more of a PvE one than anything, to be honest. So that's that. Now the hard raid exclusive hand cannon is definitely going to be a fan favorite. It's called the Word of Crota. It is a void damage primary. It has Zen Moment. Causing damage with this weapon increases its stability. It has speed reload, hammer forged, and explosive rounds, which I believe takes a small percentage of the actual damage overall and puts it as kind of like a 2-meter AoE around them. It's going to be great for thralls when they pile up. It's going to be unique because each shot does that and disorients the enemy and kind of flusters them up a bit. Last but not least, the Phantom Gift. Rapidly landing 3 precision hits returns 1 round to the magazine. That's going to be great for PvE. Seeing as how it's a void damage, a really good primary one with explosive rounds, this is going to be really unique to see how it pans out in PvE and maybe even PvP too, so that's definitely one people are going to be looking for. And of course, the big dongo. We have the Necro Chasm exotic one. Now, to acquire this one, you have to get a Crux of Crota drop, which is, in fact, an exotic material that you can get, my guess, from actually killing Crota himself. And you apply that to the Eidolon Alley when you have it fully leveled up with the, what is it, the Burgeoning Hunger or something like that. So, to acquire this thing, you have to get the Husk of the Pit, evolve that into the Eidolon Alley, and then evolve the Eidolon Alley into the Necro Chasm. And again, you're going to need that because this thing's got some pretty interesting perks. Now, of course, it's got Cascade, which allows melee kills to increase the reload speed of this weapon, which is unique because this already has a pretty fast reload speed. Curse Bringer. Precision kills with this weapon frequently trigger a Curse Thrall explosion. That'll be interesting in PvP and definitely in PvE because that's going to be a big AoE right there. It also has a couple other decent ones. Flared Megwell for the faster reload, which again is not the greatest thing in the world because it's already got a fast reload, and Rangefinder, which increases its effective range. So it's got some good perks going for it. And that is the big dong, the big Necro Chasm, and that's what we have from this week's update. I am looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say about these. Which one of these 5 weapons are you looking forward to the most, or even put them in a scale of 1 to 5? I'm curious to see. Thank you guys for your time. Be sure to hit the like button and stay tuned for future updates and stuff like this by subscribing to the channel. Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you guys in the Crota Raid.